is so wonderful to be here today. My name is Michelle Bligh, and I'm the Executive Vice President and Provost of Claremont Graduate University. Prior to taking over the Provost role, I have been on the faculty at Claremont Graduate University for 22 years. My background is in management and organizational behavior with a specific focus on gender and leadership. So I first became interested in the study of leadership and organizational behavior when I attended a refugee camp in Kakuma, Kenya as part of my study abroad program. And it was there that I realized that the power of organizations to really help and to promote human well-being and safety was incredibly important. So at that time, I decided to go on to graduate school where I did my PhD in management, and my focus on leadership was purposeful because I believe that leadership is broadly distributed in the human population, and there's a lot of potential that we're leaving unrealized. So that's how I got interested in the study of leadership and management. Unfortunately, women still face significant barriers, even in 2024, in advancing to leadership and management positions. And we find this disparity really all over the globe. So although women comprise more than 50% of the human population, and in places like the United States receive more and more of the undergraduate degrees, they still face barriers in many ways. One of the things that we talk a lot about are the layers of barriers that women leaders face. Some of those are interpersonal, so women are not socialized and not given opportunities to take leadership positions, and so therefore we have things like the confidence code where women are feeling less confident and are less likely to self-promote for leadership positions. If we expand outward to the next level, the interpersonal effects. We have lots of research that shows that although women and men actually lead quite similarly, women tend to have to face a dual bind. They have to be both likable and competent in order to succeed in leadership positions. And as we expand to the next layer into the organizational realm, unfortunately the majority of leadership positions are still allocated in a tournament style. This tournament style process unfairly disadvantages women who in most aspects of the world still are responsible for the majority of child care, elderly care, and what we call the second shift. So we have individual barriers, we have interpersonal barriers, we have organizational barriers, and then we have societal barriers. And the societal barriers are really focused on the fact that because women have most of the responsibilities for child care, elderly care, and other responsibilities outside of work, we have societal norms and pressures that suggest that women have a lot more to do in order to excel both inside and outside of the workplace. So all of this combined creates a lot of barriers for women to ascend into leadership positions, even when they are ready, able, and willing. Absolutely, I would say that their progress in looking at gender equality in the workplace does happen in fits and starts, and I would say there are a couple of relevant factors to consider here. One is the sort of lack of recognition for the amount of leadership and management that women do outside of the workplace, which is unrecognized and uncompensated in pretty much any society in the world. The second factor that I would say is that we have something that we call the second generation gender bias. So the work in the 70s focusing on feminism, and particularly in the US, leading to women asking for equality of pay and equal rights outside of the home, led to the widely lauded shattering of the glass ceiling in which women did begin to ascend into top leadership positions. The challenge is that anywhere you look in the world, those women who have ascended ascended into the top positions still remain the minority. And the majority of ways in which women are ascending and breaking boundaries tend to be primarily in not-for-profits, in the smaller firms. So the Fortune 500 still has more CEOs named John than women put together. And so we see women ascending or breaking that barrier, but doing so still being more of an anomaly than a regularity. And the other thing that I would add to that is that as women have shattered that barrier, the second generation bias is really the backlash that women have faced as they ascend into leadership positions. So the research still continues to show that women who are at the top of leadership positions tend to be less liked than their male counterparts, and they tend to be held to different standards than male leaders. So even when they have broken those barriers, what we call the second generation gender bias, those invisible stigmas, psychological variances in expectations for men versus women, and challenges in expectations still remain for women. So what can we do given all of the challenges that we know women leaders face in ascending to top leadership positions? Again, I tend to look at the problem at multiple layers. So at the individual layer, we can famously, Sheryl Sandberg asked women to do, lean in. So women do and must continue to self-promote. We need to, as women, help other women learn for confidence and self-promotion skills to go for leadership positions. A lot of research shows that women are less likely to go for a position if they don't think they're qualified for it, while men will apply and often get stretch positions. So at the individual level, we can help women be confident, self-promote, and go for those stretch positions. At the interpersonal level, we can work to mentor and support women. It is a reality that women face bias from other women as well as they ascend into leadership positions. They're challenging societal norms and they're breaking the status quo. So we can mentor, we can support, and we can look to help bring other women into leadership positions. A way of thinking about this is stepping back and letting or opening up a position for other women to step in to lead. And this importantly involves men. It is unfortunate that many of the leadership classes and gender and leadership topics and workshops we lead tend to be all women. And unfortunately, women alone cannot solve what is a systemic societal problem. So men can importantly help as well. And then at the organizational level, we can be more thoughtful and purposeful about designing roles that people of both genders can succeed in if they have families, outside obligations, or responsibilities. We can change the criteria for promotion so that it is objective and unbiased, so that women have as equal or opportunity to get a promotion when one opens up. And finally, at a societal level, we can think about ways to level the playing field so that there are more resources for caregivers, mostly women across the world, to free up their responsibilities so that they can devote time and energy to both managing and leading in the home as well as outside the home in the workplace. So methodologically, my research has taken many different directions. In academic research, we often differentiate between quantitative and qualitative techniques. I have been very excited to use both of them. I have talked with women leaders, I've done case analyses, and I've actually analyzed a lot of the texts and practices of organizations, so from more of a qualitative side. On the quantitative side, I've done a lot of surveys and also computerized content analysis of leader speeches so that we can look at the ways in which men and women lead in terms of what they say and how they say it in a quantifiable way. And in the future, I want to continue to talk with, understand, and push on all of the dimensions I've just talked about, the individual, the interpersonal, the organizational, and the societal, to really push past what are definitions of the problem. We know that there are lots of barriers for women leaders. The focus that I'd like to turn to is what are the solutions and how do we get those solutions into the hands of more women, particularly younger women, when they are contemplating developing their identities about whether or not they believe they would like to or have the aptitude for leadership. Because as I said earlier, I believe that all of us have leadership aptitude, and it's finding that passion and purpose, your why, and a place, an organizational home in which you can fulfill that purpose is ultimately the goal of all of my research.